Hello, 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 everybody. We are back once again for another Cafe and Diner Archives receipt chain, this time with TDT. The very first one is obviously passcoded, and our passcode hint, or password hint, is "The devil take me if I've made $3 selling coffee." Okay, I'm not sure what that is. Let me see if anything comes up when I search that. Devil and Tom Walker. That was a quick find. See if that works. Oh, heck yes. Yay, me. Alright, so this is from the owner on October 2nd, 1995, and it says, "Mr. Gray turned out to be a little less helpful than I was hoping, but he was able to turn our attention to another, perhaps more knowledgeable consort of Satan, Tom Walker." Yes, the very same Tom Walker from Irving's story. Though unlike Dorian Gray, who is more so a demon named after the fictional character, Mr. Walker is assuredly one and the same as the devil and Tom Walker. Of course, Irving editorialized the story quite a bit. The important details are all mostly true. Mr. Walker was indeed once a man from Massachusetts who made a deal with the devil. Well, not the devil, but Satan. In this regard, he was at one point a witch of Satan until he broke his initial contract by declaring the devil should take him if he made a farthing. Well, that part might be a bit stretch in truth as well. And from my studies in demonology and the history of our Birmingham priest, Tom Walker failed to satisfy Satan's contractual agreements in life, leading to him taking his soul in death. Now, you might think failing Satan would earn you a spot in the deepest, dankest, dirtiest, darkest trench in Pandemonium, but you'd be wrong. Satan apparently took a liking to Tom and took pity on his failure, offering the newly born demon a place in his house as one of his consorts. Now, this part is more or less conjecture, but I am of the belief that Satan and Tom had a more romantic relationship together, leading to Tom's place of favor in his house. Of course, that would be rather sweet if Satan didn't murder Tom's wife, leaving only her liver and heart for him to find. In any case, Tom, much like Dorian, also has the rare privilege of having a method to come flipside without the need for Boogeyman's powers. Mr. Walker can come flipside during the new moon. He brings an empty sack that must be filled with coin before the next full moon or he dies. Now, there is one issue with this. As far as I know, there is no reason Mr. Walker must come flipside. We have to hope that his greed compels him to steal wealth from human pockets once more. Not to mention that the next full moon is in 6 days. There's not much time to track him down, assuming he is currently flipside. I'll have 17 keep an eye and ear out for anyone who might know where and when Mr. Walker can be found. Interesting. I do enjoy that the Cafe and Diner Archives pulls from a lot of places when it comes to its lore. I do quite like that it goes through everything to find interesting topics that could fit within this universe, and I hope that it does it more. I'm assuming it will, since they've done Tom Walker and Dorian Gray to this point. The next one is on the 14th of October, and it's from employee number 44. It says, "I've taken a break from researching Mrs. Aka and have turned my attention to Mr. Walker, seeing as he is more vital to current cafe operations. The good news is I believe I've tracked down this elusive customer, and I now have a solid idea of where we might be able to meet him before the end of the month. The bad news is that he most likely won't be anywhere near the cafe on the new moon. Unsurprisingly, Mr. Walker spends his time in the States around the Cradle of Liberty. Mr. Walker, when down in the States, has been operating as a modern-day usurer, a loan shark who goes by the name Double D Kid. He typically deals with customers who are seeking more illicit goods and operates under a no-questions-asked policy. Due to his operation's illegal nature, he was pretty hard to track down. And to be fair, I don't know that this Double D Kid is indeed Mr. Walker, but I feel that most loan sharks don't operate under 15-day intervals that happen to line up with lunar phases. Along with his location and choice of name, it most likely is the customer we're looking for. I've saved the best news for last. It seems that Double D Kid consistently shows up every new moon and sticks around to collect by the full moon. He does have a fairly long wait list to be seen, but I'm hoping 17 might know someone who can get us a meeting with Double D Kid as soon as the 24th. Of course, typically, Double D Kid only sees those seeking a loan, and he might not take too well to us just having a chat. But from the reviews I've managed to dig up, you really only want to take a loan from him if you have no other way to get money. His terms are insane, and his interest rates are practically quintuple the principal per week. We have receipt number 3, which is also number 44 for October 17th. Of course, 17 knew someone. He always does. He also booked a flight for the both of us to the Cradle so we can meet up with this Double D Kid on the 24th. I don't know how he does it, always jetting around the world. Also gotta get exhausting. Though his eyes lit up when I told him we'd probably have to go across country. That man loves to travel. Plus, we can stop by Buckeye to meet up with 62 and see if we can help with our Mrs. Felt problem. After we have a sit down with Mr. Walker, of course. There is one problem: my parents. It's going to be tricky to convince them to let me fly across the country with a guy I met 2 months ago. Well, as I'm thinking about it, they have to already know him, right? They're in a coffee-adjacent line of work, and 17 seems to know everyone in the business. My parents are something of a big name in the industry. I know we were supposed to tell them that we were working for the cafe and diner, but, well, my sister and I have been creative with how we phrase it. The owner and 71 were supposed to pay them a visit, but from what I understand, it kept getting put off. My parents aren't exactly the biggest fans of the cafe and diner. We may need to rip that band-aid off sooner rather than later. I mean, I'm going to the cradle with 17. That's non-negotiable. My sister got to talk with Mr. Gray, so it's my turn. I just don't know how they're going to take it, especially considering their, salty associations. Well, like the owner said, if it was easy, it wouldn't be worth doing. Ooh, we're learning more and more about our particular personnel in the cafe and diner. I quite like that. I like that we know 2 of them are siblings and 2 of them are in the younger side. I'm not sure that's really smart to have people that young in the business, but who might have judged? This is a completely fictional world. Itty what itty. Next one is on the 24th, playing 44 again. We arrived at the Cradle of Liberty without any problems 4 days ago. Sorry for the lack of updates. We've been busy preparing for tonight's new moon. Apparently, a lot goes into setting up a meeting with Double D Kid, especially when you skip to the front of the line. Assuming all goes well tonight, we'll be able to interrogate him to see what he knows about Padre's latest plot in the States. Then again, there is a chance that Double D Kid isn't actually Mr. Walker, but a very eccentric loan shark. Though, considering the circumstances, I feel pretty confident that I've got the right guy. Thankfully, I've already worked ahead in my classes, so I can miss a week or 2. If that isn't actually Mr. Walker, we'll find him one way or another. Also, it sounds like 62 needs our help in Buckeye. I do feel a bit bad about the whole implosion of the Shadow Story Club. I mean, I left after my sister started dating that creep. It was awkward, to say the least. But maybe if I had stuck around, I could have put a stop to things. Well, there's no point in dwelling on the past right now. To stop Mrs. Aka, we need to stop Padre Santos. And to stop Padre Santos, we need to figure out what's up with his red book and what Mrs. Pleasant, Aka, and Umbra have to do with it. Hopefully, Mr. Walker will have the answers Mr. Gray says he does. I mean, I imagine Mr. Walker would be somewhat acquainted with bookkeeping for Padre. And if Mrs. Pleasant, Aka, and Umbra owe Padre a debt, or maybe Padre owes them a debt, then Mr. Walker is sure to know about it. There's only one way to find out, though. Expect a transcript of our conversation in the next receipt. And to the next receipt we go, so much accustomed to for Mr. Walker. I'm going to take a look at this. What book is Mr. Walker from? Is there a quote from The Devil and Tom Walker that fits this? For whatever reason, this Quizlet full of quotes from The Devil and Tom Walker, I might have been looking for eternity of the quotes bound to show up somewhere online. Witches and Goblins. I don't know if I would have found that. So let's throw that in there. And here we are. Number 44, Tad paid for TDT care of 17 and 44. We met with Mr. Walker as planned, and I think it went pretty well. Though, unsurprisingly, he wasn't all too willing to give up any major details about Padre or Padre's Red Book. However, something he said got the gears in 17's head turning. Though he wants to be certain this connection is correct before saying anything. We also found out that Mr. Walker, at the very least, is aware of Padre's plan in Long Beach, or at least that was the implication I got from the conversation. In any case, we're off to Buckeye to help out 62. Here's the beginning of it. Double D Kid, it's a pleasure to meet you. I've heard so much about your dealings with the devil, or should I say, Satan. Who the hell are you? Is this some kind of joke? You want us to get rid of these jokers? No, but leave us. You sure, boss? What would the suit and kid do to me? Go, I'll handle myself. 4 tourists left the CADCOM transcription page. Now, who the hell do you think you are coming into my place of business spouting off about Satan? Apologies, Tom. We meant no disrespect. Though your lackeys, they are humans. Easier to control. Though I see you and the kid are humans too. Guilty, though we are well versed in matters out there. We didn't come for pleasantries, Tom. We came to discuss a certain red book. A red book of your master, Satan. Red book? Yes. I believe I know that one. It's not something to be trifled with. The knowledge it contains is dangerous. I doubt a human could even understand it. What could you possibly want with it? We have a thirst for knowledge. Oh, is that so? Take it from me, kid. Deals with the devil don't often go as planned. If I were you, I would set your thirst elsewhere and leave Satan to his affairs. So you know what he's up to then. Perhaps a few dollars could. I don't take bribes. I earn my money fair. That's not what we heard. Fair enough. Now, I believe it's time you two left, but the Red Book, I won't say another word about it. I wouldn't dream of betraying my lord's trust, unlike other loose-lipped strangers. Ah, and so the connections deepen. You have my gratitude, Tom, though I wonder, I wouldn't. Now kindly get out. I have loans to lend. End of transmission. So we've come full circle with that part of it. We know that the Red Book is used for something more nefarious, and I'm hoping that very soon we'll actually see what that nefariousness is. But until then, I will see you in the next one. Sweet nightmares. I just wanted to take the time to thank my Patreons and channel members. Your support is so appreciated. If you are not a channel member or Patreon and you would like to become one, there's a link in the description below. All channel members and Patreons receive 24 hours early access to all content posted on both of my channels. And all Patreons or channel members of the $10 Hellhound tier can request one horror-related video or stream topic, or one horror-related game that I play on my live streams on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Again, thank you so much for supporting the channel and the content that I make.